I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about how to get the upper hand in a breakup. And we got some good tips for you guys because, when you're going through a breakup, you just feel so defeated. You feel like your whole life is destroyed. Everything that you've had is just gone. You've lost. Your ex has won. Your ex has the upper hand in the situation because they made the decision.
And you feel totally helpless.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a terrible way to feel.
It is a terrible way to feel. And when you're in this situation, you desperately want to turn things around. You want to figure out, how can I get the upper hand? How can I at least stop feeling powerless? Mm-hmm. Because you just get so awful. You just have this awful feeling inside that you can't do anything.
I can't do anything to fix this.
And so we're going to help you see things a little bit differently today by kind of taking a look at the breakup process and what you and the dumper goes through, right? So the first thing that I want you guys to understand is that it does take time and work for you to get emotionally grounded after you've been dumped.
Yeah, you're in shock. Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't want the decision, and you're just feeling like whatever your ex has decided is this concrete decision that lasts forever. The fact of the matter is that's not true. Feelings do change. Now, that doesn't mean your ex is going to definitely change their mind or want you back. But in many cases, how your ex feels a month or 2 months or 3 months from now is not how they're feeling directly after they've made this huge decision. And when you give them time and space to allow themselves to live with these decisions and these choices, they often rethink and re-look at things, okay? And this is what we say. They revisit the idea of getting back with you.
When they start to miss you.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's why the no contact. They have to have time to miss you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize that they've made this decision that they're now sitting with, and no, you're not there.
So, when you're looking at it, your ex's feelings will change.
Right.
About the whole situation. They'll process things, they'll deal with things, but your feelings will also change too. So while you're going through a lot of pain and a lot of hurt, it will get better.
Yes, it will.
It
will. Doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're at the bottom of the pit.
So, most of the time, your ex will at least revisit the idea of trying to work things out with you. Feelings are not going to be as adamant as they were when they made the decision, and you're sitting there trying to convince them to change their mind. Okay? So if you remind yourself of that, it does help ease some of the difficulty. Okay? Here's another one. You want to remind yourself that there were times in the relationship where you were unhappy. Because oftentimes it feels like, oh my gosh, I love this person so much. How could they have done this to me? When the truth of the matter is, probably most of you, at least at some point or several periods during the long relationship, you thought, I don't think I could be with this person anymore.
Absolutely, and that's very important because it makes you feel much less helpless.
Yeah. And, I talk to people all the time. In fact, I can think of at least 2 this week that said to me, I wanted to break up with them.
Yeah.
And had they gone through with the breakup, they wouldn't have gone all through, all the pain that they're going through.
Right.
Of course, the other thing is that they wouldn't have gone through all the personal growth that they're going through. So it's like, what would you rather do? not have had the pain or gone through the pain, but grown, learned, and
Right.
become the best version of yourself, or at least worked on that.
So some good can come out of it eventually.
And that's one of the things that I do love about a breakup, is the level of motivation you have after you've been broken up with is sky high.
Right.
Okay. So, another tip. In most cases, you need to understand, really, that you are doing far more work on yourself than your ex is. Because in most cases, our ex just continues their life as it was. They just think, oh, I'm going to start dating this new person, and that lasts, 3 or 4 months. Or they just think, oh, I'm going to move forward, and they just continue the way they were going. And my observation, Margaret, I don't know about you, we haven't talked about this, but one of the things that I have seen is that oftentimes the exes are doing worse after the breakup.
Oh, of course. Worse than they expected.
Yeah.
And sometimes they think the breakup is going to solve problems that it's not even connected with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This person made me feel better and I didn't worry about my depression, but now it's back, and all sorts of things like that. Right.
As a matter of fact, I can think of one of the girls that I talked to this week. She had broken up with the guy, and she thought it was going to solve problems by ending the relationship,
Right.
but she wound up feeling a lot worse.
Right.
Because she didn't really want to break up with this guy. Right? She was hoping that by breaking up with him, he would see all of the things that she needed and would change.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So she's really struggling because she's thinking, I didn't even want to break up with this guy. I just wanted him to be more attentive and realize how much I cared about him.
Did she say that to him?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
No.
And I've seen that happen too. If I break up with him, he'll stand back and he'll look at it and then he'll understand.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Now, the good news for her situation is that they're still talking. They saw each other on the road. He messaged her, and now they're chatting again. And I think they're probably going to wind up at least going out.
Okay.
And so I think she's going to have another opportunity to showcase for him the changes she's made and communicate better. And I really do think this guy genuinely cared about her. He was just extremely busy with work and didn't have time to give more than what she was wanting.
And anytime you're invested in getting your partner to change, you have to think twice about it.
So the major thing we're trying to get you to understand there is that you're working on personal growth.
Right.
Your ex, if they are, it's like 10% of what you're doing, if that. And I think I'm being generous.
Yes, I think you are.
So know that you're working hard, and so that's going to help you. Okay. Now, the thing that I like about no contact, and God, no contact is brutal, but it does give you an opportunity to grow every single day.
Yes, it does.
Okay?
And it is brutal.
Every day that you don't talk to this person is an opportunity for you to learn a new skill, for you to work on yourself, to make a change, to work on understanding communication or looking at the relationship. What wasn't working? What weren't you happy about? What weren't you communicating well? What weren't they communicating well? All that time gives you time to process. If your ex comes back right away, I mean, sometimes that's great, but sometimes it just means you're more likely to mess it up.
Yeah.
And because you're so emotional and overwhelmed.
And you go right back to the same patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it gives you an opportunity to really look at your own mental health, your issues with attachment trauma,
Right.
communication, being a good partner and being your partner's best option, right?
All those things.
Yeah. So time works for you. And, I do want to remind you guys, you should look at local mental health counselors. Many of you guys have insurance and are paying for it. Why aren't you using it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We would encourage you to do that.
You have the resource. Use
Sure.
it.
And I always encourage people, Therapy is difficult no matter how much you like your therapist and how comfortable you feel. And I always say, feel free to shop around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the best coach or therapist for everybody. Nobody's perfect. So if you find someone and you're not comfortable after a few sessions, feel free to shop around. That's okay to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to find somebody that works for you.
Yes, that's right.
You know, just look for ways to improve yourself. You know, you can obviously watch our videos. We have lots of content,
Right.
like over 600 and something videos. You know, there are other resources out there, videos or books. My workbooks, a lot of you guys are doing the workbooks.
Yes, they are.
And I'll tell you guys, please, for those of you that are working on the workbooks, just spend 30 minutes a day on them. Don't overwhelm yourself, but don't put them to the side and get lazy either. Just a
Right.
little bit every day.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And it is possible to overwhelm yourself.
Absolutely.
So do a little bit at a time, particularly when you get back into things that happened when you were little. That can be difficult. So do what's comfortable for you. If you're having anxiety attacks and you can't sleep, give yourself a break.
And the other major point that we wanted to talk about for you guys is that you really want to get to a place where you don't need them back.
Right.
Okay? You can want somebody back. You can hope that it works out with somebody, but it's not healthy to be at a place where you feel like you need them.
That's right, because you're too vulnerable then. What do you need them for? Do you feel like you can't function without this person? And that's not a good place to be because you're too vulnerable.
Yeah.
And they or anyone else could sell you a bill of goods. And chances are you have more resources inside than you realize. And you're going to do okay after a little bit of time, being on your own. So don't underestimate yourself.
And the other thing, Margaret, is if you feel like you need somebody, that puts you in a position where you are very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Because that means they could mistreat you, they
Yes.
could disrespect you,
Yes.
they could abuse you,
Yep.
and you're going to tolerate it because you feel like, well, I need this person.
And there's a big difference between saying, thank heaven, I need this person and I'm back with them, and saying, I choose to be with this person. I can make it fine on my own if I want to. I've proved that. But I choose to be with you. I would much prefer that, wouldn't
Yes,
you?
absolutely.
Yes.
I want somebody who wants to be with
Yes.
me. If they feel like they need to be with me, that feels like pressure on me.
That's right.
Like, oh my gosh, I have to meet all these needs that they can't take care of themselves. I want somebody who's a little bit more independent and who wants to be with me and says, yeah, I really would love to be with you and you make me happy. But that feeling of need is like, you know, a child needs a parent.
Right.
But an adult shouldn't really need another adult.
And I think that the very term partner suggests that it's an equal thing.
Yeah.
You know? Most people say, well, do you want a dictator? Do you want a parent? Do you want a partner? Oh, I want a partner. Okay. And I think that is what most people want. Remember, we live as human beings between wanting to be attached and wanting to be independent. And if you're willing to work at it, you can have it both ways.
Yeah. So focus on getting yourself to a place where you think, I don't need this person back. It would be great if we could work this out
Right.
and make this work again or get another chance at it again, but I don't need them for my happiness.
That's right.
You
Or
wa-
my functioning.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to create your own happiness
That's right.
and your own, be able to function on your own as an
Yeah.
adult, a self-sufficient adult,
That's right.
right?
And we all crave that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will help you feel a little bit more power, a little bit more empowered and what's going on in a situation where it
Right.
feels like you're vulnerable and you're helpless.
That's right.
Of course.
We don't want you to feel that way for 1 minute longer than you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skypes. Margaret is, of course, available for Skype coaching.
I'd be delighted to hear from you.
Just click on Margaret on the top of the website. But be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check us out, we're on Spotify and iTunes and podcasted on all the major platforms. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.